At 40, the things that drove you for 20 years stop driving you, not gradually, all at once. You wake up one ordinary morning and realize the promotion that used to feel like everything feels like noise. The hustle that defined your 20s feels like running on a treadmill that goes nowhere. Here's what nobody prepares you for. This isn't burnout. This isn't a midlife crisis. This is clarity arriving late. For 2 decades, you were taught one thing: work harder, climb higher, prove more, and you did. You built the career, the title, the income, the image of success everyone could see from the outside. But somewhere around 40, the math stops working. You look at the hours you traded, the relationships you missed, the version of yourself you postponed, and you realize you optimized for the wrong thing the entire time. At work, this hits differently than people expect. You're sitting in the same quarterly meeting you've sat through hundreds of times, but something feels different. Not the content. You're watching younger colleagues climb the way you used to. Same hunger, same urgency, same belief that the next promotion will finally feel like enough. And you know something they don't yet. It won't. Not because success is fake, because you've already proven what you needed to prove. To your parents, to your former classmates, to the version of yourself that doubted you'd make it. That proving is done. And what's left when proving ends? A question most people at 40 have never actually asked themselves. What do I actually want now? In relationships, the shift is even more pronounced. You spent your 20s and 30s building a network, connections that served your career. At 40, you start noticing most of those connections were transactional, not malicious, just functional, built for a season that's ending. And the people who actually matter, you've been neglecting them while chasing things that, in hindsight, mattered less than you thought. On social media, the comparison trap gets sharper. People younger than you achieving things you haven't. People older than you who seem to have it figured out. You're stuck in the middle. Successful by most measures, quietly unfulfilled by your own. That gap between external success and internal peace widens every year you ignore it. Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing his most important reflections in his ambitious youth. He wrote them later, in the field, during war, in moments of complete exhaustion, when he had nothing left to prove to anyone. Just trying to live correctly according to what actually mattered, not what looked impressive. Tell me in the comments, what changed for you after 40? Your priorities, your relationships, or how you define success? Stay until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly what shifts at this stage of life. What stops mattering, what starts mattering instead, and how to make that transition without losing everything you've built. Let me show you exactly what changes after 40, and why fighting it costs you more than embracing it. The career identity crisis. For 20 years, your job was your identity. Ask who you are at a party in your 30s. You answer with your title, your company, your industry. That answer felt complete. At 40, it starts feeling hollow. Because you've met people with impressive titles who are miserable, and people with modest titles who are genuinely at peace. A new question arrives. If I lost this job tomorrow, who would I actually be? Most people can't answer that, because they spent 20 years building a career, and 0 years building a self that exists outside it. Your job was never your identity. It was your function. That distinction is uncomfortable. It's also the beginning of something real. The relationship audit. At 40, you start auditing relationships without meaning to. Not your phone contacts, your actual life. Who do you call when something genuinely matters? Not who would respond to a text, who would show up. For most people, that list is shorter than expected and longer than they realized for people they'd written off. This audit reveals something painful. You spent your most energetic decades investing in people who couldn't reciprocate, and neglecting people who would have shown up the entire time. The relationships that survive past 40 are the ones built on something other than convenience. The energy reallocation. In your 20s, energy felt unlimited. Work all day, socialize all night, recover by morning. At 40, energy becomes the scarcest resource you have. And scarcity forces honesty. You can no longer afford people who drain you, situations that don't serve your actual goals. Performance is designed to impress people whose opinions stopped mattering years ago. This isn't bitterness, it's mathematics. Less energy, more clarity about what deserves it. So you start saying no to meetings that don't need you, to relationships that only take, to versions of success that were never actually yours to begin with. The legacy question. Somewhere around 40, a question enters that wasn't there before. What am I actually building? Not for this quarter, for the next 30 years. In your 20s, legacy felt abstract. At 40, it becomes concrete, because you can finally do the math. The health habits that felt harmless at 30 show their consequences. The relationship patterns that seemed manageable show their true cost. The career that defined you starts feeling smaller than the life you actually want. This isn't crisis. It's the moment legacy thinking finally arrives, whether you're ready or not. The visibility shift. Here's something most people at 40 don't expect. You become harder to read, not deliberately, naturally, because the performance ends. You spent your 20s and 30s explaining yourself constantly, justifying decisions, seeking approval, managing how you were perceived. At 40, that performance simply exhausts itself. Your reactions slow down, your opinions get quieter, not louder. You stop explaining yourself to people who are never going to understand anyway. This isn't coldness. It's what's left once approval stops being the goal. If you've felt any of these shifts in your own life, subscribe. Because what comes next is how to navigate this transition deliberately, instead of being dragged through it by confusion. Here's how to navigate what happens after 40. First, separate identity from occupation. Your job was a function, never your entire identity. Ask, who am I when I'm not working? What do I think about? What do I value? What would I do if money wasn't a factor at all? Those answers are your actual identity. Everything else was just the vehicle. Second, audit and reduce. Look honestly at your relationships, your commitments, your obligations. Which energize you? Which drain you for the sake of appearances? You don't need to confront anyone. Just quietly reduce access. Less time, less energy, less priority to what only ever took. More of all three to what's actually building your life. Third, build something that outlasts your career. Whatever you've built professionally ends eventually. Retirement, industry shifts, health, time. Build relationships that exist outside work, skills that matter beyond your current role, a sense of self that remains stable even if the career changes completely. Fourth, redefine success on your own terms. For 20 years, success was external. Salary, title, recognition. Ask honestly, does more of this still feel meaningful? Or does it feel like running a race you forgot to question? Define success now by your own measures. Peace, presence, integrity, relationships that matter, even if none of it looks impressive from the outside. Fifth, protect your energy ruthlessly. You have less of it now. Stop attending events out of obligation. Stop maintaining relationships that only extract. Stop performing enthusiasm for things that don't matter to you. This isn't selfishness. It's the wisdom that comes from finally knowing energy is finite, and what you spend it on becomes your actual life. Final truth, at 40, it's no longer about working. It's about living deliberately with whatever time remains. The career still matters, but it stops being the entire story. The relationships still matter, but only the real ones survive the audit. The success still matters, but you finally get to define what that word means. This isn't decline, it's arrival. The version of you that spent 2 decades proving finally gets to stop. And the version that emerges after that builds something that actually lasts. Not because you stopped caring, because you finally started caring about the right things.